For years, global analysts and economic strategists have predicted that 2025 would be a defining year for BRICS, the alliance of emerging nations steadily growing in influence, power, and ambition. What began as a loose coalition of developing economies had, over time, transformed into a powerful bloc with bold intentions to reshape the world's economic framework. As the new year began, speculation about expansion filled the air. But no one foresaw just how swiftly and dramatically the global landscape would evolve. In a surprising and unprecedented announcement that sent shockwaves through financial capitals worldwide, Russia revealed in January 2025 that 23 nations had formally expressed their intent to join BRICS. This wasn't merely an expansion, it was a revolution. The surge of interest marked a watershed moment, signaling the emergence of a new global order in which economic gravity was shifting decisively away from the traditional Western power centers. Among the hopeful entrants, two countries stood out, not only for their economic weight but also for their strategic and symbolic significance: Nigeria and Indonesia. Their formal induction into BRICS did more than add names to a list. It redefined the bloc's identity, influence, and ambitions. Nigeria's inclusion was historic. As Africa's most populous nation and its largest economy, Nigeria stands as a vibrant, resource-rich powerhouse. With more than 200 million people, a GDP approaching $500 billion, and vast deposits of oil, gas, and minerals, Nigeria has long been a key player in African markets. But as a full-fledged member of BRICS, it now holds a powerful seat at the global economic table. No longer a peripheral participant, Nigeria is now positioned as a core force shaping global policy, steering investment flows, and influencing international trade. Its admission sends a powerful signal. Africa will no longer be sidelined in global economic conversations. With Nigeria at its heart, BRICS gains access not just to enormous natural wealth, but also to political leverage to advocate a global economic model grounded in equity, sovereignty, and cooperation. And yet, the significance of this moment grows deeper with the simultaneous rise of Indonesia into the BRICS alliance. As Southeast Asia's largest economy, Indonesia brings substantial demographic and economic strength. With nearly 280 million people and a GDP exceeding $1 trillion, the country sits at a strategically crucial maritime crossroads, positioned along some of the world's busiest trade routes. Its leadership in ASEAN and influence throughout Asia make Indonesia a vital player in regional stability, economic integration, and cross-border connectivity. Together, Nigeria and Indonesia do more than diversify BRICS, they redefine it. The bloc now spans a broader geographic and geopolitical spectrum across Africa, Asia, and Latin America. But the change isn't just spatial, it's philosophical. The addition of these two nations marks a conscious shift away from a Western-centric world order. BRICS is no longer content to act as a counterweight to established powers. It is stepping forward as a challenger, presenting a compelling alternative vision for global development, trade, and monetary systems. Central to this transformation is a bold ambition: reducing global reliance on the US dollar. With Nigeria's vast oil resources and Indonesia's pivotal role in global trade, BRICS now holds unprecedented leverage to reshape international commerce. Commodities that were once almost exclusively traded in dollars could soon be priced and exchanged through alternative systems promoted by BRICS, a move that threatens to upend the foundations of the current financial order. This isn't just economic posturing, it's geopolitical realignment on a tectonic scale. The Western establishment, long accustomed to dominance, now faces a united, credible challenge. BRICS is expanding with intent, bringing together diverse nations under a shared vision: the creation of a more balanced, multipolar world. A world where international institutions are no longer ruled by a select few. A world that prioritizes sovereignty, mutual respect, and inclusive prosperity over historic privilege. As 2025 unfolds, this moment will be remembered not just as a year of BRICS expansion, but as the beginning of something much larger: the rise of a coalition determined not to be ignored, one that is rewriting the rules and daring to shape a different future. The shift is underway, and BRICS is leading the charge. Indonesia's entry into BRICS marks a turning point, not just in its foreign policy, but in the broader global geopolitical narrative. This is more than a diplomatic adjustment. It is a deliberate strategic move aimed at reducing the country's long-standing reliance on Western economic systems and political alignments. By stepping into BRICS, Indonesia sends a clear signal. It is ready to embrace a multipolar global order, one where emerging economies are not simply participants, but key players writing the rules of the game. With a GDP of over $1 trillion, Indonesia enters the bloc with serious economic muscle. Its wealth of natural resources, from energy reserves like coal and oil to essential agricultural commodities, makes it a vital cog in global supply chains. As a BRICS member, Indonesia can now leverage these assets more effectively, opening up new trade routes, diversifying its partnerships, and accelerating its growth trajectory. This move offers Jakarta far more than just economic opportunities. It delivers strategic leverage on the global stage. But Indonesia's decision to join BRICS goes beyond economics. It represents a significant recalibration of its diplomatic priorities. By aligning with BRICS, Indonesia is choosing to deepen its ties with fellow emerging economies, nations that, like itself, are striving for greater autonomy in a world long dominated by Western powers. Through this alignment, Indonesia joins a broader movement for de-dollarization, a bold initiative aimed at reducing global dependence on the US dollar and reclaiming financial sovereignty from institutions rooted in Western influence. In doing so, Indonesia positions itself not as a passive participant but as a key player in reshaping the international economic order. And Indonesia is far from alone. The momentum behind BRICS is accelerating at an extraordinary pace. In 2025 alone, no fewer than 23 countries from across the global south formally expressed interest in joining the bloc. From Africa to Asia to Latin America, nations such as Bahrain, Bangladesh, Burkina Faso, Cambodia, Chad, Colombia, the Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Honduras, Kuwait, Morocco, Myanmar, Nicaragua, Pakistan, Palestine, South Sudan, Sri Lanka, Syria, Venezuela, and Zimbabwe are all turning toward BRICS as a credible and promising alternative to the Western-led global system. This wave of interest is more than just a statistical surge. It's a powerful signal. BRICS is no longer a marginal coalition. It is rapidly emerging as a dominant force in global geopolitics, with a capacity to challenge the influence of long-standing institutions like the IMF, the World Bank, and the G7. So, what makes this movement so compelling? For many countries, BRICS offers what the current global system does not: a partnership based on fairness, mutual respect, and economic self-determination. These nations are not simply seeking membership. They are seeking liberation from a global order that has often kept them economically dependent and politically sidelined. For countries weighed down by decades of Western sanctions or structural exploitation, such as Venezuela, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe, BRICS represents a lifeline. It's a chance to escape the dominance of the US dollar, long used as a tool of geopolitical control. At the heart of the BRICS mission, the de-dollarization initiative stands as its most radical and transformative ambition. For decades, the US dollar has maintained an iron grip on global finance, serving as the default reserve currency and granting Washington unrivaled leverage over international markets. This power has enabled the US to impose sanctions, freeze foreign assets, and influence trade flows with a mere policy decision. But now, BRICS is mounting a direct challenge to that dominance by encouraging the use of local currencies in international trade. The bloc is laying the foundation for an entirely new financial architecture, one that is more equitable, inclusive, and far less susceptible to geopolitical manipulation. If successful, this shift could prove revolutionary, reshaping the global economy by reducing reliance on the dollar and empowering nations long excluded from the financial mainstream. Indonesia's role in this effort is especially significant. As one of the world's largest energy exporters, it is uniquely positioned to drive non-dollar trade. With key trade partners like Russia, who is also pushing to bypass the dollar, Indonesia can help pioneer a new model for energy commerce that is more resilient, localized, and insulated from the volatility of dollar-centric markets. Such a shift could offer much-needed economic stability to nations like Venezuela and Nigeria, whose oil-dependent economies have suffered under the weaponization of the US dollar. Still, despite this momentum, BRICS now faces a critical question: how should it grow? With dozens of countries seeking entry, will the bloc open its doors to all, or remain selective and strategic? So far, BRICS has chosen a measured, cautious approach, evaluating prospective members based on shared values, long-term alignment, and their ability to contribute meaningfully to the bloc's overarching goals. This careful vetting process is not a weakness, but a strategic strength. It ensures that the alliance retains its integrity and remains true to its vision of a more just, cooperative global order. Priority is given to nations with abundant natural resources, geopolitical influence, or complementary economic strengths. Venezuela and Nigeria can fortify the bloc's energy future. Pakistan and Morocco offer access to vital geographic corridors. Through this selective growth, BRICS ensures each new member enhances its collective foundation rather than diluting it with competing agendas or fragile economies. Looking ahead, BRICS is positioning itself as a cornerstone of a new global economy, a viable and increasingly powerful counterbalance to Western dominance. With influential members like Brazil, Russia, India, China, Indonesia, and Nigeria at its core, the bloc is gaining the critical mass required to rival the economic and political clout of the U.S. and its allies. The rise of BRICS is more than just an organizational development. It is a symbol of a changing world, one that could fundamentally alter global power structures, reimagine trade routes, and challenge the financial systems that have governed the modern era for generations. The world is clearly on the cusp of profound transformation. The real question is no longer if BRICS can shape the 21st century, but how. Will it maintain unity as it grows, or fracture under diverging interests? Can it stay true to its mission of economic fairness and sovereignty, or risk becoming just another geopolitical sphere of influence? The answers to these questions will shape the future global order. So, can BRICS truly challenge the dominance of the US dollar? Is it capable of rewriting the rules of global finance and diplomacy? And should it embrace openness or stay selective to protect its core ideals? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this discussion insightful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth coverage of the shifts reshaping our world. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. The global stage is changing faster than ever.